I just do more.
Oh, do you? I'll do that.
You all set?
Yeah.
All good? Great. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight to tonight's meeting. Please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for pastor.
Father God, we bless you and we thank you. We thank you for your hand on our community. We thank you for our board, Lord, and their families, Father God, for their integrity and their perseverance, Father God. We pray your hand upon them and upon this meeting tonight, and everything be done, Father God, in order and peacefully. And we bless you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay, first thing, we've got public hearing.
Motion to open a public hearing for the formation of an ambulance district in the town of Williamsburg.
Second. Clerk call roll, please.
Councilmember Lutz.
Aye.
Councilmember Santulli.
Aye.
Councilmember Grant. Aye. Councilmember Passano.
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. We'll open up the floor now to public comment on this public hearing. I will ask if you speak, please, for the record, state your name and your address. If anyone would like to speak, now is your opportunity.
Seth Goldstein, 7694 Mariahville Road, Delanson, 12053. Do I just stand here and talk or?
Sure.
Okay. I have been a resident and a taxpayer of the town of Dwaynesburg for 16 years. I've been a volunteer first responder with the Mariahville Volunteer Fire Department for over 15 years, and I currently serve as president and officer with the department. The comments I will be making tonight are my thoughts and do not represent the fire department position on the matters I will discuss. I know that what I'm going to say tonight will upset some people. But I am known for speaking the truth and not beating around the bush. Okay. I have come here tonight to urge you to vote no on creating an ambulance district. I would further recommend to the town board to end all funding to Dwaynesburg Ambulance as of 2026, as it is now 100% paid department and no longer volunteer, and should not be in need of taxpayer dollars. As I see it, Dwaynesburg Ambulance Corps, DAC, is no longer Dwaynesburg Volunteer Ambulance Corps, DVAC. I'll use their acronyms going forward to save time. I know previously when DVAC was all volunteer, their billing was called soft billing. Soft billing meant that if DVAC transported a resident and they could not afford to pay, their bill was waived. Now under DAC, if a resident cannot afford to pay their bill, they end up in collections. Since the town funds DAC, it isn't right the residents are forced to pay twice for ambulance service. Not only that, but now DAC is charging residents for non-transport calls. We had a call last week for a lift assist. An elderly gentleman fell and needed assistance getting back to bed. His family is now going to be charged a couple $100s for that 911 call. DVAC never charged for that. Nor do I feel like they should be charging, as that is something that the fire departments do for free, and the ambulance should only get to charge if they transport, since they are receiving money from the town. As far as I know, Mohawk, REMS, and Lake Valley, formerly GAVAC, do not charge if they do not transport. Also now, DAC has been sending fly cars with an EMT instead of an ambulance to boost their dispatch to on-scene rate, and to be able to bill those non-transport patients or to secure the transport for their ambulance. On one of my calls, they tried to turn back an ambulance from GEMS, which is Gildolan, because theirs was coming back from a call. I'll also point out that since the change from DVAC to DAC, I've seen patients transported to farther away hospitals or taken the long way because they charge by the mile. To add fuel to my assertions that DAC should not receive any tax funds if they continue their billing practices as they are now, I had a conversation with a Town of Rotterdam board member recently to ask about Rotterdam and their funding of REMS, which is Rotterdam Emergency Medical Services. The Town of Rotterdam gives REMS $0 a year. Now, mind you that REMS is an ALS agency and DAC is a BLS agency. That means when DAC is called, you only get an EMT. With REMS, you get an EMT and a paramedic. The reason why Rotterdam doesn't give REMS a cent is because Mohawk Ambulance Service, which does BLS and ALS, will pay Rotterdam for the rights to cover their town. Back when Roger Tidball was Dwaynesburg Town Supervisor, Mohawk offered the same thing to cover our town. Now, I'm not going to say that Mohawk service is better than DAC's, but it won't cost the taxpayers in this town $500,000 a year, only to get billed again when they need help. Got copies of this for all of you.
I did do a copy for that.
Anyone else like to speak? Yes.
Carol Hallenbeck, 481 Sheldon Road, Lansing. And I realize this is a very difficult situation. Obviously, I don't have the expertise that the gentleman who just spoke did, but I very much commend you for trying to work out a sensible solution so that when somebody really needs care, it will be there for us. I have been the assessor in the past, and I know as soon as you mention anything that raises taxes, it's going to get objections no matter how much or how needed it is. But I would thank you very much for exploring this possibility. And I do hope that you're able to work out something that is a good solution. I read in some of our surrounding communities where there are long wait times or maybe nothing available. And if you're standing there after an accident and somebody you love is bleeding all over the roadway, you want somebody there and fast. And if it is the ambulance district at less than $1 a day in the tax average, it seems like it could be a prudent option. But that's something for you all to discuss. It sounds like a lot of money when you say take a chunk and put it here. But if you're standing there waiting for urgent care that is desperately needed, I don't know about the rest of you, but I would gladly give whatever I could to have that available. Thank you, and I appreciate the effort.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Can I help?
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Andrea Goldie. I do not live in this district, but I'm here speaking on behalf of my son Kyle Goldie, who thankfully is alive and well today because of the efforts of the Dwaynesburg Ambulance Corps. They had just moved to Dwaynesburg last year. They had a housewarming party at their house. They were having a party with their friends. They were all drinking. And unfortunately, I got a telephone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, a call that a mother does never want to hear, that your son has had an accident and he fell down a flight of stairs and suffered brain trauma. Due to Dwaynesburg ambulance getting there so swiftly, along with the expertise of that department and the Dwaynesburg Volunteer Fire Department, they assessed my son, realized that he had such a severe brain injury they had to get him to Albany Med as soon as possible. They worked with the ambulance, the fire department, and the Lansing Fire Department to get my son medevac to Albany Med. I can honestly tell you, my son is alive today because that ambulance crew was there quickly. He would have not made it. He also got better care from just talking to Chief Brody when we had to call them up 4 days after he was released from the hospital because they said he was okay to go home. Nobody told us the after effect that could happen to Kyle. They said, look for signs for a stroke. That was it. Nobody said anything else. We watched for signs for a stroke. 4 days later, we had to have the ambulance come back out again because my son was hallucinating. He thought I was standing right there. Dwaynesburg ambulance was there. They assessed him. Kyle walked himself out to the ambulance. He knew something was wrong. My son had a seizure in the ambulance. They knew what to do. I know it is a big deal when you are paying for tax dollars. It really is. I live in Galway. Galway has a paid ambulance crew. It is phenomenal. They are there when you need them. It's great when you have volunteers, and I'm all for volunteer firemen, but you guys, you're volunteers. You put in a lot of hours, you put in a lot of time, but not everybody is a dedicated volunteer. And you might not have somebody there when you honestly need them. And it is very important in this district, in this area, your houses are far and wide. They cover a lot of territory. They support a lot of territories. It is important to have it. And I think everybody needs to work together to make sure you can keep it. Figuring out what you got to do with the tax dollars. I am so very grateful to them. I still have my son. My granddaughters still have their father. It's a big deal. It really is. And the tax base, I understand it's going to go up. It's going to cost money, but it is so worth it in the long run. Our tax base went up in Galway. I don't notice it anymore. But when I need that ambulance, it is there. I'm just here speaking on their behalf because my kid wouldn't be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead. No, feel free. Go ahead. What do you want?
In the rear.
Ben Yonkler, I live at 1443 Mudge Road. Been here my whole life. My parents have been here their whole life. Well, my dad passed away a couple years ago. Little lady in front is actually my aunt. So I still have family here. I hear what people are saying, and I hear what you're saying about what you see when it becomes a private entity that's trying to make money. And I understand that, and everyone understands, I guarantee in this room, that the dollar doesn't go as far as it did at one time. I'm a Schenectady fireman. I work for the city of Schenectady. I'm actually the head of the union. I know, working firsthand in Schenectady, and to your point, to actually all your points, is there things that they're trying to do to make a dollar? Yes, because the dollar isn't going as far. Is it worth spending the money to have an ambulance there? Yes. Do they do a good job? I truly believe that anyone who is going to answer the call of whatever it is, whether it's volunteer, paid, ambulance, fire, whatever it is, they're going to do their best, even if they're there when they in 2 minutes or in 30 minutes. I think that the biggest problem that what you're saying with Galway is that you feel like it's there.
They're there. They
no,
staffed their house. Yeah.
I'm not, this isn't directed toward you. I'm not looking for a back forth.
Yeah.
What I can say is that the city of Schenectady and other agencies bank on each other for mutual aid. So when the taxes go up in Dwaynesburg, the city of Schenectady is siphoning off the tops of the people on the backs of the people from Dwaynesburg. And that isn't fair. There is an issue there. Mohawk Ambulance has obviously been a provider for years and was able to take care of some of the services in the city of Schenectady. They're not that they aren't trying, but in every field, I don't care where you go, we're having problems hiring. I know in the Schenectady Fire Department, we're having problems hiring. I know Mohawk is. I'm assuming DVAC is, because it's hard to get people to take jobs right now. That being said, guaranteeing that the ambulance is gonna be here is not, there's no guarantee to that. We could raise the taxes and turn around if somebody calls in the city of Schenectady, Mohawk's not available, Rems is not available, Niskayuna is not available, Colony's not available, Clifton Park, Half Moon's not available. They call Dwaynesburg. We get Dwaynesburg coming into the city of Schenectady all the time. So I don't have a problem if my taxes go up, if I'm buying something that's gonna benefit me. I look at emergency services as insurance. The one insurance you always have is your life insurance. The other ones that you have is that when you pick up the phone, a basic liberty in this country should be that someone's coming in a timely manner and they're professionally trained. I think what we're doing in Dwaynesburg ambulance, I think we're trying to accomplish that. I don't know if we can guarantee that raising the taxes helps out anything to keeping the ambulance in Dwaynesburg. And that is the true problem. I do believe that Governor Hochul has decided to put monies aside for county to decide how to disperse them. I know it's slow go. I know that there's a lot of questions and not a lot of answers, but I do hear what everyone's saying with sometimes how it comes across when it's a commercial agency and it's switching from volunteer. I do understand that it's needed, and I do understand when they get there, they're doing a good job. But I also have the aspect of where I sit, being from that, I am from here, but I work there. They are taking our tax dollars and they're using it on the backs of us, and that's not fair. I do believe there has to be a county answer to that. I personally have been in contact with some of the people who help run the county and express that opinion. How far that goes, I don't know, but I don't know if forming a board of commissioners, a tax district, is going to accomplish the problem, and the problem is getting the ambulance in front of your house. A couple weeks ago, actually probably a month and a half ago, I usually take my mom out to the Dwaynesburg Diner. I come down 20, she comes down 7, she lives in Quaker Street. There's an accident. In that accident, my mom, just to me, I was like, oh, I'll hit the back way in, not thinking anything of it, and then it dawns on me, that could be my mom. It wasn't, she was the next car in, sitting there talking to a sheriff, but there was a Rotterdam ambulance there, there was a Mohawk ambulance there, there was a Guilderland ambulance there. The only one that wasn't there was the Dwaynesburg ambulance. They sat there for probably 20 minutes until Guilderland got there because they needed advanced life care. There's a difference between EMTs and paramedics. If we are going to raise taxes, I would just ask that paramedics, they are more valuable than EMTs, not because they're better or anything, they're just higher trained. I'd hope that everyone does the best they can. When it comes to transport times, if something seriously goes wrong here, you're going to need a paramedic. I know that a lot of times the city of Schenectady is called and we'll meet at the city line. We try not to come out this way because obviously the taxpayers of the city of Schenectady are asking us to protect the city. Every once in a while, we will cross that depending on the nature of the call, but a paramedic can do a lot more over the course of a 20-minute ride. I don't care which way you go, you're about 20 minutes, Albany or Schenectady, Amsterdam. So if we are going to raise taxes, the idea might be more of the service provided as a ALS provider instead of a BLS provider. With that being said, I appreciate all the hard work that's gone into this. Obviously, that's a lot. My one question is, right now, as an ambulance service, are we doing transports or are we just doing emergency calls? If we're just doing emergency calls, we're trying our best to get in front of the house. If we're doing transports, that means we're getting called non-emergency to go to a facility to bring somebody either back home or take somebody from a retired nursing home to a hospital or vice versa. That's not an emergency call. When it comes to billing, I know that's 100% billable. I know on an emergency side, it's not 100% billable. So just like Mohawk Ambulance, they do tend to make sure they cover those instead of the emergency call. So I'm just asking that if it's going to be emergency based, then we're doing everything we can to be in front of people's houses, like you're saying. And that's why sometimes we might have to charge for a lift assist. But that, I guess that's my only question is if we're doing transports,
No, emergency only.
okay, there you go. That's my answer. So I appreciate the time. I appreciate everyone's putting effort into this. It's a problem that's not just here, it's a problem in surrounding counties throughout the state, throughout the country. And I just thank everyone who's putting time in.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll make, before we go on to any more comments, I'll make a couple of comments, just to clear up. Recognize that we work with this intimately and we have a level of familiarity. It's easy for us in the room that everyone else does as well. The formation of the district will not have any tax impact whatsoever. Other than that, when the tax bills come in January, there'll be a dedicated line item on the bill that will spell out the ambulance tax. The district is currently set up to be full-time paid. We started out a number of years ago as a hybrid and grew as time went on into full-time paid. And so as I said, there will be no impact on taxes whatsoever as a result of the formation of the district. And just to put a number out there so everybody can quantify, everybody's assessed value of their home is different, of course, but we've got an average assessed value of homes in the town of $64,000. If you are an average assessed home, your cost, your taxes as of this year for the ambulance would be a little over $190. So that means the cost of your ambulance is 52 cents a day. So I'll now invite anyone else who would like to speak.
One question to that, is it 52 cents a day total or 52 cents a day going up?
No, the current cost for this year is 52 cents.
Okay, all right.
And we started out as a hybrid.
Yeah.
And we worked our way up, and it is full-time paid at this juncture.
Correct. Okay.
Anyone else like to speak?
Craig Mastrom, 1596 Darrow Road. Just a couple of questions. With the formation of the tax district, where's the shortfall? Because we're billing as of right now, so where's the shortfall when it comes to the money coming in and not being able to pay for staff? I'll reiterate to Ben's point, I have no problem with my taxes going up when I gain a service, if that service is provided and put in front of my house. As soon as that service goes out to the city of Amsterdam or the city of Schenectady, and my daughter and my son and my wife are unprotected because they're a part of a mutual aid plan, that's completely unacceptable. I'm not willing to give my taxes to go subsidize the city of Schenectady, Amsterdam, whoever it is, Gavac, whatever the names of the ambulance are. That's not fair. That's not fair to us as a taxpayer. That's, I think, something that a lot of us don't understand, is that you say you form a tax district, you have an ambulance, that's great. That's awesome, as long as the ambulance shows up in front of your house. People don't see it. I am lucky enough to be able to see, or unlucky enough to be able to see the downside of the failing EMS system in Schenectady County. I don't care where you are, I don't care if you're in Dwaynesburg, I don't care if you're in Niskuna or the city of Schenectady, Scotia. The system, the EMS system in Schenectady County is failing, and it's failing miserably. So by making a tax district, and providing an ambulance for us is great as long as the ambulance shows up for us. And it's not showing up for the village of Scotia. Go to the village of Scotia. You go all over the place. I worry about the ambulance being here. That's all I care about. If I'm paying for it, I want it here. I don't want it somewhere else. That's not fair. It's no different than I pay for taxes for a fire district. That fire district starts going all out every other place to be able to subsidize something that's failing on the other side, maybe the fire side in a county, and they don't show up to my house. That's a problem. And that's what's happening. Those are just my comments.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir.
Bob Katita, 794 South Shore Road. I'm the current chairman of the Dwaynesburg Ambulance. Got involved several years ago when my mom was dying. Mariah was there. Took 25, 30 minutes to get an ambulance to my house. I made it from Albany to my house before an ambulance got there. That was volunteerism. The volunteerism, since I've been involved, dropped off to practically nothing. I'm very proud of what we've done in Dwaynesburg Ambulance. I thought we worked very well. I think we work very well with all the fire departments. The money that, and I'm glad you brought this up, it's not a new tax. It's being moved from one portion of the bill to another to guarantee the longevity of whether it's Dwaynesburg ambulance, whether it's something down in the future when we're not here. As long as, like they're saying, an ambulance is here. The thing that we have to realize is, like the gentleman said, we have a tough time in Schenectady County with EMS services. When we're called, we rely on mutual aid. All right, if we're on a call in Dwaynesburg and there's another call in Dwaynesburg and we can't get the second ambulance off, we rely on other people to come and help us, right? We can't ask others to come and help us and not provide help to them. So we've done everything we can to try to do a fly car. We spoke about it. We gave all of our EMTs, administrative staff, a bag so that we could get an EMT to a house if we're on another call. We're currently working on getting more drivers so that if that fly car is there helping out, we can get that second ambulance off. This has been huge growing pains for us. But I want to thank the town board for stepping up and doing this. I mean, this is for the longevity of the town. Bob Catita is not going to be there for a long time. Eric's not going to be able to do billing. People have to understand the billing that we're asking for is only 2/3 of what it costs to run that department. We're barely paying for the service, the staff. When you start throwing in all of the other things that kick in when you have staff, and you guys know this, it's expensive to run it. The billing that we get back pays for the rest of it. We break even almost every year. We're not putting away extra money to buy another ambulance in 5 years. So we're looking to do things other than that, fundraisers. I go to different counties. I got money from Angelo Santa Barbara. So we're breaking even town. So if you get a bill, we're not billing because we want to bill you. We're billing because we have to, just to break even. So again, I want to thank the town board for taking the steps to move forward with this. You all know how passionate I am about it. And I just hope that we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I'm Peter Brody. I live at 1019,000 Acres Road. To respond to a couple of comments made earlier, we do have people prepared to go to a scene. If we can't get an ambulance out the door, we do have people in town to do first respond. Currently, we do it in our vehicles to make sure an EMT gets there. The fire departments do a fine job of responding, but they don't always have an EMT because not everybody's schedule matches up, with when an emergency happens. So we like to make sure that some type of care arrives if our ambulance is already occupied and not able to be there. The day of the 3-car collision at 7:20, we were at a call on your road, picking up a patient, and we drove past that scene 20 minutes later with the town of Dwaynesburg resident on board. So we weren't off doing a call in the city of Schenectady or the city of Amsterdam. We were doing a call in Dwaynesburg when they had a collision at 7:20.
Wasn't insinuating where you were.
No. Now, someone in this building told me I was, and I went and did my homework, but I wanted to make sure I got that information back to you. So in 2024, we were dispatched 678 times. Now Diane, Councilmember Grant, is the former chair of our board, and we would do somewhere between 250 and 350 calls. 600 and something was insane. This past year, we turned multiples of those calls down because our focus and our attention needed to be here. There are some that, we were not going to turn down. We were sent to a call in the city of Schenectady, turned out to be false information because God knows our dispatch information is not always accurate because people are excitable. And, but they said they had people trapped in a structure fire in the city. I'm not going to make them wait for that. And if I need to generate a second crew, I pick up my phone and I call other people in the ambulance corps, whether they're employees or volunteers, to come in and staff another rig. Or I bring another rig into our station. If it appears like we're going to be gone for an extended period, we work and we have great partners who come in, more than happy to do that. I honestly think they like our big television and our recliners, but they like coming to our station to hang out.
We don't just leave the place unoccupied, we make sure that someone is there. So we do have policies that actually help us do that, and we do have practices that do that. Our leadership team is committed to not only making sure we serve this town, but also that we train our people to be the best that they can be. I met Kyle on the second encounter
Yes.
we had at his house. When Kyle was wildly confused. But, what I saw there was good work that had been done first time. And we were pleased to follow up and be able to help them the second and third time. So we do commit to serving this town, and wherever possible, we do put an ambulance in front of your house or at a car wreck. And as Chairman Katina mentioned, there are times we ask others for help, we help them out occasionally. We're limiting as much of that as we can, so we maintain our focus here. Very simple. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a question, of those 630 or whatever you said, how many of them are outside of buildings?
I have those numbers. We gave them to the town. I can get them for you.
It just wasn't in the packet, that's.
I'll get them for you. We do every month we do a 77-page report, breaks out everything.
Yeah, report.
I'm gonna say 3/4 of
quarter.
them.
Every quarter.
Every quarter,
It
yeah.
takes us forever to put that together. Don't tell them it's every month.
And out of those, how many are mutual aid? That's good.
We have that all broken out also, so, but I'll make sure. Chief, would you know?
Ballpark, they're about 35%, but that doesn't mean that we took them all. But I can tell you 106 times we were dispatched to the city of Schenectady. And there are many times we didn't go.
So, just out of curiosity, in years past, how many times were you called the city of Schenectady?
Our first dispatch to the city of Schenectady was in 2024.
When we went full time.
Just wondering.
Yeah. And we also realized that, we also realized that the city of Schenectady helps us with ALS. So it would be terrible for us when they call us to say, nah, we're only gonna use your services, we're not gonna give you ours. So.
In your mind, I think I was a bit reminded, is just how many of those called the 683 was when you, not mutual aid, was how many times did you guys have to call mutual aid in for yourselves? That would be my question, to see how many times
To cover us,
to cover you.
I don't want to give.
I'm just saying, just because if
Yeah.
now we're going to a tax base and you got more funds that are coming in,
Mhm.
is there room to hire another ambulance? Can you sustain a second ambulance? I know.
Well,
Just quit.
we need to stop the whole
Sorry,
assumption that there's a tax increase.
right.
Creating the tax district is not going to generate an automatic tax increase. The way this is gonna work, if it passes, please correct me if I get this wrong. And some of you people that are here in the community that are involved in talking to us now, we're going to need a board of commissioners who are going to be in between the town board and DAC.
Or
And
whomever.
they're the ones who are gonna have to be there and be flexible as the county tries to mend their ways through creating some kind of a countywide medical response.
Mhm.
So there is no built-in tax increase. That's still gonna be amongst the board here every year to look at the budget and to see if it's something we can or can't do. So that's not gonna, it's not an automatic increase.
No, but generally, once something enters the budget, it generally doesn't come out, especially if it's emergency service.
Well, that seems to be general throughout everything.
That's general, that's reality. That's,
But it's not an automatic, it's not built in. It's not there as of yet. We may decide to give an increase, but it's not automatic in just creating the district.
Okay, I'm Mike Thomas Collins, 2344 Woods Road. From what you're saying, that it won't be the commissioners that will set a taxing rate going forward in district, it'll still remain in the town.
Board.
So we'll still be part of the 2% tax cap money.
Yes.
Correct,
Okay, thank you.
yes.
Yes, the board has full oversight of the
Yeah.
budget.
And a couple, the other thing is I want to commend Bob. Over the last few years, I asked him about, can we experiment with alternate methods? And I suggested the fly car. That's there to get somebody there, like man wants, someone there fast. And hopefully, maybe it can save some money and save time. So this is still a growing process here. Over the last few years, if we've grown to the full-time, but it doesn't mean we're gonna stay there. It doesn't mean there isn't another plan out there that might work better or as well. So, and as he said, there may be other organizations that come in. We get a contract proposal when we sit down and look at the budget. There's nothing that says another organization can't submit another proposal. We would have that option and look at it.
Yes, sir.
Two final comments. One, the county is earlier last year hired 2 EMS coordinators. You know, and I served on the search committee or the interview committee. And with the intent that they examine the system to see where the gaps and the holes are. And as the chair of the Schenectady County EMS committee, that's me, I do that. Our discussions revolve around where our gaps and problems are. You know, and 8 years ago, Drainsburg was a problem. 5 years ago, Drainsburg was a problem. You know, right now, the mutual aid coming out here is mostly ALS intercepts. We have contracts to manage most of that and provide that service. Right now, there's very little mutual aid coming into Drainsburg. The scenario you referenced is one of the rare times, you know, where that is actually happening.
Right.
You know, and second, you know, our focus internally is to make sure that, you know, I focus on our expenses and long-term planning. You know, I have employees to retain. I still have some volunteers who continue to ride. I'm a volunteer as well. And, you know, so we have to retain those and we keep our spending down to a reasonable level. You know, as the chairman said, you know, we're not going out and building a Taj Mahal to put the building in. This isn't some town in Nassau or Suffolk County where they need to have a palace to store everything in. You know, we live within our means. I mean, we're in a very conservative town and we don't want to raise taxes. And our budget, correct me if I'm wrong, the last 2 years has stayed within the 2% tax cap. You know, so we're not asking the town board for exorbitant sums of money. So, and we don't see that changing.
And the other thing I'd like to address is the problem with going outside of the town. It's a conundrum. It's probably gonna have to be solved at the county level. As the fire chief, I come from the incident command systems. And when there's an emergency, you are an asset. You are called, you are expected to respond. It doesn't matter where it is. We have the same thing. We have the Esperance Fire Department just across the road. And they're gonna be first on scene probably to Hannaford before one of the other fire departments. They're outside of the county. So we have a lot of moving parts that we have to juggle back and forth, which we're hoping to hand off to the commissioners, a lot of that, because this takes up a lot of time and mental capacity.
And also I'll mention, there are, when a board of commissioners is put together, it gives this board an opportunity to put people in place that have a level of expertise that we may not. Each one of us comes from a different type of a matriculation. We can have people that have a matriculation where they have intimate familiarity with medical circumstances. We could have some people familiar with ambulance. We could have some finance people, and it'll give it a better, more in-depth oversight than we can do from the board. And it will give the board the opportunity to focus on some of the infrastructure projects within the town that we need to take a look at. So that is what precipitated all of this. It's a way we look at what can we do to make things better. That's what the focus has been. Anyone else?
I just like make one final point. We do everything, or at least the crew that we have, we're doing everything evidence-based. We don't do anything by feeling. So I heard tonight that we should go to ALS. I would love to go to ALS. It's like $1.2 million. Our operating budget right now is $680. You guys are paying 500 and something. It's, you know, we have to look at the entire structure. Maybe the county can send ALS to us. But I'm a taxpayer here too, and I have several properties, so I don't want them to go up, believe me. So it's all evidence-based. If I saw that our ALS response was much more needed, I would come to the town and say, hey, as much as I hate to do this, I gotta ask you, but these are the numbers. The numbers right now don't justify me to have paramedics 24/7. The town can't afford it. We can't justify it. There's no way I could come to you and say, out of 600 calls, 490 were ALS. We needed ALS intercepts. So everything that we present to the town on a quarterly basis is evidence-based, and all our decisions are made, made on that evidence.
Yes, sir.
So just curious, when we talked about the Board of Commissioners, and like you said, if there's a better solution that maybe comes along that, you know, we're acting now and someone might act later, how easy is it to step back once you have that tax district and once you have a Board of Commissioners? Because if I might be completely wrong on this, I always thought the Board of Commissioners had to vote itself out. They had to vote to dissolve itself.
I'm the attorney for the
Yep.
town. The ambulance district commissioners are advisors to the town board only.
Right.
They're not elected. They don't have any independent fiscal authority of any kind. So they're just to provide guidance to the board and guidance to the provider, whoever the provider happens to be. Now, the ambulance district can be unwound by an act of the town board subject to permissive referendum. So once you have it, it doesn't mean it's there forever, okay?
Mhm.
So if for instance, and I'm gonna say this is extremely unlikely, if somebody came down on a cloud and said, I'm gonna solve this problem for Schenectady County, and it required us for some reason to eliminate the taxing district, we could do that. But I think it's unrealistic to assume that that's ever gonna happen. The only thing that I'm aware of that they're trying to do right now at the county level is in the governor's budget bill, which has not been adopted. And it wasn't last year, whatever they had for EMS also wasn't adopted. So, you know, it's a little bit like waiting for Godot. Nothing may ever happen. So from the board's perspective, and Bill will tell me to stop talking, but from the board's perspective, this is a way to make open and transparent what's being paid to the provider of ambulance services in the town of Dwaynesburg. And I don't think there's ever gonna be a time when I'm 62, when I have a heart attack, I would like somebody to be there. And I would prefer that they not be coming from Schenectady, because I don't think I'll be able to hang on, right? So we're all older, you know, we all have those need for assists, right? So, you know, this is not a service that anybody's gonna provide for us. I wish I thought there were. So the question is, how do you do it? This way is transparent. It's not just a number in the budget.
No, the question was just generated by what board member Santulli said, is that if there's another option that comes along, I was just curious if there's a way back. It wasn't.
Oh, there is.
Yeah,
There is a
okay,
way
that's
back.
it. That was all.
That's way back.
And as you said, we've got the state hanging over our head. So we're
We all
trying to do
do.
this, it's going to enable some of our flexibility. Because if you look at this, Schenectady is one of the smaller counties. We're one of the largest towns.
Mhm.
We are the largest town.
We are the largest
in
town
county.
and the smallest county, yeah.
And we don't have the population, and we already have a problem with the city sucking up some of our services. But when it comes to mutual aid, that's it. That's a two-way street. You know, each hand has to help out the other hand. So that's gonna be a conundrum that is still gonna have to be solved somewhere.
Mhm.
And the state may impose something on us in the future. We just want to be ready for it.
But the ambulance district is very different than a commissioned fire district.
Yeah, that's what I just get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can close it like that.
Yeah. Much easier.
Anyone else?
Motion to close the public hearing for the formation of an ambulance district in the town of Queens.
Second.
Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Grant.
Aye.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Councilmember Santuli.
Aye.
Councilmember Passano.
Aye.
Supervisor Winslow.
Aye. We will, before we continue with the rest of the meeting, we'll take a very short break. Those of you who are here for the public hearing would like to depart, may do so, and if anyone wants to stay for the rest of the meeting, you're certainly welcome to do that as well.
Are you gonna talk about chickens?
No.
Get the hell out of here.
Thank you.
Every other time I come here, you're talking about chickens.
Chickens, Peter.
Like I said, I just had you hear that.
When you, the information in there,
Right.
like the breakdown, like that's where we usually, we try to like look at where we're sending to go and resources. That's really.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Deviate yourself? They're trying.
Yeah.
I have.
My work children. You're going. Get paid more, and we're still getting the same £1.3. Now. It's fine. I don't know. I want somebody to love because I'm doing my life, because somebody else goes up there.
We're doing the same thing, yeah.
Correct, but, you know, but.
Geographic.
When you have. You look at garbage, and I know. But I will tell you, a walk ambulance shows up, paramedics, I'm a happy camper.
Yes, I know. I told
You don't want them
I don't really want to, but.
They're not.
If they're billing, if they're full, hitting the residents.
Yeah.
For bills, that offset with what the county is paying now.
Well, we're talking big things, getting into it, and then your.
Oh, I know, they're under, yeah, they're under,
I
understand.
Like, you guys have this.
I hope so.
I got nothing going on. Like,
Yeah, I think you're. Well,
You know, and yeah, so, there's a lot of issues that are going on here.
There's money's out there.
Exactly.
Okay, so.
Nick went to the bench.
So, no,
No, what's the
Seth.
Seth then?
I told him this.
Yeah, that's why. You know, I don't want to see the resident bang. I'm like, here's what it is.
I get 6 by the end.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're going out the street, you're billing them.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, every little thing. You know, and those residents, because they're not paying, we're not paying half, they're not paying the half million.
Yeah, I get it.
You know?
Are you in the state where you're gonna reconvene?
A minute, and it's what it.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, next thing we have, on tap your approval of minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the town board meeting on Thursday, February 13th, 2025.
Second. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Grant.
Aye.
Councilmember Passano.
Aye.
Councilmember Santuli.
Aye.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Supervisor Winslow.
Aye. Supervisors report, month of January. Revenues, general fund is a negative 16,885.93. The reason there's a negative there in the revenue is because of an accounting adjustment that needed to be made by the third party CPA. Highway fund, $263,924.91. Fire districts, $996,987.20. Lighting district number 8, $6,750. Lighting district number 2, $12,600. Lighting district number 3, $5,850. Drainage, $1,000. Sewer district number one, $323,019.91. Sewer district number two, $299,298.87. Sewer district number three, $114,746.65. Total revenues, $2,007,291.61. Disbursements, general fund, $150,774.95. Highway fund, $123,840.76. Lighting district number one, $603.37. Lighting district number two, $1,190.31. Lighting district number three, $529.15. Sewer district number one, $157,788.02. Sewer district number two, $23,562.93. Sewer district number three, $84,653.16. Total disbursements, $542,942.65. Payment of claims.
General Fund A, $16,752.68. General OBB, $2,088. Highway Fund DA, $7,697.68. Highway OBDB, $4,041.15. Fire protection, $77,480. Lighting district number one, $23.88. Lighting district number two, $39.82. Lighting district number three, $26.89. Sewer district number one, $3,539.08. Sewer district number two, $3,252.18. Sewer district number three, $1,685.98. Total transfers to AP, $116,627.33.
Second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Grant.
Aye.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Councilmember Passano.
Aye.
Councilmember Santucci.
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. Okay, committee reports. Number one, highway. Keith, you're up first.
Well, I'm looking to hire a new driver in the next couple of weeks. To start over there. And we've had some minimal repairs on some of the equipment. Guys are doing a real good job with the few that I have, and we've bought a few things to make their job easier, and as of that right now, it's pretty much it. I mean, trying to get through the winter here. But yeah, I'm hoping then with a new employee that will make it a little bit easier for the guys here, and it'll be better for the residents too, as far as time from the start to finish when they start your road and then you don't see them for 3 or 4 hours. You know, it's not because they don't want to be there, they're still doing the rest of the road, you know what I mean? But they're doing good. So hopefully with this new employee, it'll be better. And I'd like to maybe next year add another one.
Thank you. I had a few calls over the past couple of weeks with compliments for how well the roads were taken care of, which is always nice. And a few of us had the pleasure to meet Matt a little bit earlier. And look forward to bringing him on. Look forward to it.
Okay.
Thanks, Keith.
Yep.
Public safety, Diane, you got anything for us?
Any different from what we just experienced.
Right there. And Parks Committee, needless to say, this time of year, we don't have a lot going on. We will be having a Parks meeting early in March, and we'll be discussing primarily the summer Parks program for that. Some of the things are being put in motion for that program already. Andy, do you have anything on sewer for us?
Nothing much, just about 6 weeks ago, we had a pump at the Route 7 pump station go down. The 18 did replace that pump. It's up and running again, and they're all prepped for the high flow from the snow melt. So we're in good shape.
Very good. Mike, anything on IT?
The only thing we've got upcoming that Clerk Jen Howe is going to be working on is the state mandated change of our website to a .gov, which of course they don't give us any assistance in getting the pages changed, so she's gonna be contacting her webpage people to see if they can assist us with the transition.
Maybe my question is premature, but is there, do you know if there's any way if one of the residents, let's say, had our page, the town page bookmark, if there is a default where if they put in the current web address, it will default go into the new one?
I doubt it.
I think Civic Pro will know that because they're doing it for, you know, a bunch of websites, because they do a lot for government websites in New York and outside of New York. And I think we do have to maintain the old domain because we may get mail there. So.
Well, also,
yeah.
each one of the email addresses for everyone
They're all gonna have to be changed.
is, so we'll need to find a way to address that, because you get an important email that gets sent, it gets kicked back to the sender. So they'll, I would hope that they found a way to address that before we go too far down that road.
Well, it's a recent law and there hasn't been a lot of support from down yet.
Okay, on to the business meeting.
Motion to accept the results of the audit done on the supervisor's office. Whereas the town board members do audits of certain records on an annual basis as required by state law. Whereas town board members Michael Santulli and Diane Grant undertook the annual audit of supervisor's office records and completed the necessary form. Now for be it resolved, the town board accepts the results of the audit undertaken by town board members Michael Santulli and Diane Grant.
Second. Any discussion? Clerk call roll, please.
Councilmember Grant. Councilmember Santulli. Pasino.
Aye.
Councilmember Santulli.
Aye.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Supervisor Winston.
Aye.
Motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the youth services contract for 2025. Whereas the town of Waynesburg sponsors youth services and or youth recreation programs. Whereas the town board has reviewed the attached contract provided by Schenectady County. Now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to sign the contract.
Second.
Discussion on this, as mentioned with the Parks program, this is the annual summer youth park program that's held out at Baton Park. Clerk call roll, please.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Councilmember Grant.
Aye.
Councilmember Santulli.
Aye.
Councilmember Pasino.
Aye.
Supervisor Winston.
Aye.
Motion to appoint Matthew Narzinski as the motor equipment operator. Whereas the town highway superintendent has recommended that the town board hire Matthew Narzinski as a motor equipment operator, a non-competitive class position at an hourly rate of $24.25 per hour is provided for in the collective bargaining agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby approves the hiring of Matthew Narzinski as a motor equipment operator, a non-competitive class position at an hourly rate of $24.25 per hour, subject to a satisfactory background check and any other requirements of the collective bargaining agreement and as amended by the MOA.
Second.
Okay, discussion on this. This is the new hire that Highway Superintendent Hudson had just mentioned to us a little while ago. Clerk call roll, please.
Councilmember Santulli.
Aye.
Councilmember Grant.
Aye.
Councilmember Pasino.
Aye.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Supervisor Winston.
Aye.
Motion to appoint Andrew Famano as a court security officer. Whereas the town board of the town of Dwaynesburg wishes to employ Andrew Famano in the position of security guard to provide security services at the town of Dwaynesburg Town Justice Court. And whereas the town board previously approved in December of 2022 the attached form employment agreement to be used and memorialize each security guard's terms of employment within the town. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to hire Andrew Famano as town justice court security guard in accordance with the terms of the attached employment agreement and to sign the employment agreement on behalf of the town.
Second.
Call roll, please.
Councilmember Pasino.
Aye.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Councilmember Santulli.
Aye.
Councilmember Grant. Supervisor Winston.
Aye.
Motion to authorize the town supervisor to sign the agreement with Mardon Solar LLC. Whereas the town wishes to enter into decommissioning agreement, post-community agreement, visual screening, maintenance agreement, solar escrow agreement, and attainment in lieu of taxes agreement, the agreements with Mardon Solar LLC. And whereas the town board has carefully reviewed the agreements and now therefore be resolved, the town board approves and authorizes the town supervisor to execute the agreements attached here too.
There's just one friendly amendment that the town planning board issued a negative declaration pursuant to seeker on the project. So we just want to add a sentence to that effect. And in lieu is spelled wrong. It's LIEU, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
So if we could just correct those two things, that the seeker information is attached in the back, it just makes it easier if we mention it in the resolution. And these were all agreements that the planning board requested that the town board enter into for the Mardon Solar Agreement, which is along Route 20. It's a very small solar project that was very closely scrutinized, 1.875 megawatts AC by the planning board and by the town's boards, the planning board's engineer, Doug Cole, so.
And as I understand it, will not be visible from Route 20, where it's located. And all the guidelines that the planning board adhered to are consistent with the revised solar facilities law that we've worked very hard on to make sure that we've got screening and what have you to make these installations as benign as possible so that they're not visible as people drive by.
And should anyone ask, there are no batteries associated with this, so no BESS.
Right, and for the benefit of those who are here, if you're not aware already, battery energy storage is something that we had banned in a prior meeting, done as a result of some of the incidents that have occurred in other places within the state. So none of these facilities will have batteries in it. Clerk call roll, please.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Councilmember Passano.
Aye.
Councilmember Santuli.
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. Okay, that wraps up our business meeting. We now have privilege of the floor. So if anyone here would like to speak on anything, this is your opportunity to address the board. We have one thing remaining. Voting to adjourn.
We're all in.
Thank you for sticking it out.
Yes. Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Lux.
Aye.
Councilmember Graham.
Aye.
Councilmember Santuli.
Aye.
Councilmember Passano.
Aye.
Supervisor Wenzel.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Yep. You're good. And Kirby does the paperwork.
Does anybody, as Jenny Clark said, say, go with that.